call, starting with President Lunaharo.
Present.
Vice President Chaput, present. Treasurer Weddle.
Here.
Secretary LaSorsa. Here. Vice Treasurer Hokanson.
Here.
Chief Justice Wu.
Here.
Chief of Staff.
Here.
Director of PR.
Here.
Director of Wellness and Inclusion.
Here.
Director of Campus and Community Outreach. Is absent. Pro Tem Ludewan. Senator Beckman. Senator Fisher. All right. Senator Capo. Senator Khan. Senator Novak.
Yep.
Senator Pena. Senator Ritchie. Senator Rose. Advisor Artajani. Advisor Wadsworth. Wildcat Events Board. Club Funding Board. Wildcat Media. Wildcat Esports. College Council Rep is excused. SAC is absent. Res Life also not here. That concludes roll call. Going into the approval of the minutes agenda, starting with last week's minutes. Is there any discussion for last week's minutes? Senator Novak.
Something we noticed is, I think it is how it was done, but during old business, when looking at the results poll, for the motion to update the grand total reserves, it says no vote. I mean, that's probably because it was no vote, but that does mean we never actually voted on that motion, and instead we only voted on the SGU total. I don't know if we need to do anything to fix that, since I think we did update the bill. So I think, I'm not sure how we're supposed to fix that, but I guess I thought we should probably mention that out there, since it is a big thing. I yield.
Minutes? Seeing no further discussion, we'll go into voting on the minutes of the 12th. All those in favor of last week's minutes, please raise your hand. All those opposed, and all those who abstain, that passes unanimously. Moving on to today's agenda. Any discussion for today's agenda? CFB.
26-19 to the top of new business, and then resolution number 2526-20 below that.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Pro Tem Ludewan. Is there any discussion for the amendment to the agenda? Senator Novak?
I don't see why we have to. I mean, I understand moving the Central Bus Initiative up, but I don't think we need to put the Switch of Digital Engagement Software up. I understand we need to do that because it's a bit time-gated. But at the same time, Bill 2526-14, the social media expansion, that would probably only take like a minute or two to go into, and we could probably even just immediate action it. And this would also, it would take a 2-minute period, and it would finally let PR to use this new stuff that they've been waiting on for like weeks. So I feel like we're kind of being unfair to PR when this is also something timely, since the PR team's going to switch next semester, and it's almost March, and they still haven't been able to do this, and it's also only going to affect stuff. So I feel like we shouldn't move it up because, again, it's going to take 2 seconds to go over the PR bill. I yield.
Advisor Watson.
Yeah, I can explain. This is something that Max and I have talked about previously. The switch of digital engagement software, we are looking at a March 1st bridge contract to begin, which is pretty time sensitive, because once you all approve it, it's when the contract is going to be signed. The contract is ready to be signed. It's just at your stage right now and making sure that we're following your policies to approve a multi-year contract. We're looking at a March 1st bridge because of the extensive work that would need to be done to build out different things into the platform, which is why we can't extend it any further. So this is something that really should be looked at today. So with that, I'll yield.
All right, Pro Tem Ludewan.
Why we want to move the Central Bus Initiative, we do not want to wait longer to prolong the start of the initiative, since it's like a prototype project for this semester. So I think we'll still have enough time to get to the PR bill, knowing that it will be right below both of those. I yield.
Director of PR. President Lunahara.
The process is the resolution.
I mean, again, I just don't see why we can't just go over the PR bill for the 2 minutes it will take. I don't think 2 minutes is going to prevent us from getting to the switching and engagement software, because that would also probably take 2 minutes, and then the central bus line. I just don't see why we have to push down the PR bill, which is also theoretically time sensitive.
Senator Fisher.
So we're going to say that the more we discuss the agenda, the less time we have for our bills. So I yield.
CFB. Was there any further discussion?
He called the question.
I'm not going to hear that then, since if there is no further discussion anyways. Seeing no further discussion, we'll just go into voting. All those in favor of the motion to move resolution number 2526-19 to the top of new business and then resolution 2526-20 below, please raise your hand. All those opposed? And all those who abstain? That passes 7-0. Back into discussion of the agenda as a whole. Wildcat Esports. We have a motion to move swear-ins to before reports. Is there a second? Second by Pro Temp Ludowan. Going into discussion on the amendment to the agenda. Is there any discussion for this amendment? Yeah. I believe just one. All right.
That they used to be said on the agenda who was getting sworn in. It's not in there.
Correct.
So I say next week, if we have a swear-in, can we please just have that in the agenda?
All righty. Treasurer Weddle.
Just a brief comment on that. We don't necessarily know who's getting sworn in each week. We can't expect people to necessarily abide by a swear-in date if they're not able to make it. If something comes up, we don't hold them to that. We tell them this is when you should be coming to swear in. If they don't show up, they don't show up. I believe they're recorded in the meeting minutes, though, who actually swears in for that meeting. I yield.
All right. Is there any further discussion for moving swear-ins before reports? Seeing no further discussion, we'll go into voting. All those in favor of moving swear-ins before reports, please raise your hand. All those opposed? And all those who abstain, that passes unanimously. All right. Back into the agenda as a whole. Is there any further discussion? CFB?
Decided by the chair to cast votes for all legislations and motions made.
We have the motion. Is there a second? Second by Pro Temp Ludowan. As in what a roll call ballot is? Okay, so roll call ballot is when we vote, but instead of all of you raising your hands at once, it's one at a time. Yes. All right. Is there any discussion for this amendment? Webb.
That. And we're getting a lot of abstentions. So this would just be a little bit more transparent for the record as who's voting for what, and hopefully eliminate the I'm raising my hand because everybody else did. I yield.
All right. Senator Novak?
I guess my only I guess I have just two concerns with that. Is that one, this is going to slow down the meeting a lot when it comes to voting, because instead of just doing 3 votes, they're going to have to go down 9. And another thing is also, I guess the problem is we're kind of straight up signifying who each person's voting for. I mean, it is viewable, especially if you're looking at the video afterwards to see who voted for what. But this way, we're straight up saying this person votes yes, this person votes no. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I could see this being used, like, to have target or retaliation for voting a certain way. Because if you vote no for a bill that someone really wants passed, they know you are the one who voted no. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just a concern I have. I yield.
Right, and I think there's a big difference between being targeted over your vote and being held accountable by your constituents. All the senators are meant to be representative of the whole student body. If a student doesn't like the way that you voted on something, they absolutely have the right to approach you in a professional and respectful way and ask why. If people are coming after you and they're just doing things that are not okay, they're saying things that are not okay, they're harassing you, that's entirely different, and that's something that would go to our advisors or through conduct. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the senators being held accountable for how they vote on legislation. It should be recorded. That should be visible to people who are curious. I yield.
Process of the agenda. Any further discussion? Being no further discussion, we'll go into voting. All those in favor of using roll call ballots on all legislation motions made, please raise your hand. All those opposed? And all those who abstain? That passes 6-1. Back into the agenda as a whole. Is there any further discussion for today's agenda? Seeing no further discussion, we'll go to voting on today's agenda. All those opposed? Yeah, we did. Oh, my shoot. You're right. Holy crap. My apologies. I'm a little burnt out today. Anyways, yeah.
I apologize. Was the motion not for all legislative documents? The agenda doesn't constitute a legislative document.
Legislation and motions. Yeah. Correct. All right. So, starting in the roll call ballot, Adam, do you approve? Yes? Okay. Then we'll skip the other steps for sake of time. Aiden, do you approve? Deny? Do you approve? Do you deny? Okay. I need you to raise your hand for each one. Do you approve? Do you deny? Okay. Next up is Senator Ritchie. Do you approve? All right. Next up is Senator Rose. Do you approve? This is for the agenda. Do you approve? Yes, you. All right. So you deny? Raise your hand. Thank you. All right. Senator Khan. Yes.
So any chance we could maybe instead of doing it alphabetically, we could do it
This is not alphabetically. This is by roll call.
like not do it by roll call, but instead do it by
Motion was already made. We're in the point of voting. Senator Khan, do you approve? All right. Senator Beckman, do you approve? All right. Senator Novak, do you approve? All right. Senator Fisher, do you approve? All right. Senator Ludewan, do you approve? All right. Pro Temp Ludewan. And then I'll refer to the secretary on the vote count. All right, the agenda is passed. Moving on to announcements. There are no announcements. Moving on to guest speakers. There are no guest speakers. So moving on to swear-ins. Can all those being sworn in today please come to the center of the horseshoe?
So when I say state your name, you will state your name. When I say state your organization and position, you will state your organization and position. All right. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Will faithfully uphold the student government of Utica Constitution and carry out the duties of state your organization and position to the best of my ability and will represent the students of SUNY Poly in a fair and unbiased manner. Congratulations.
We're going to say out your approval, denial, or abstention instead of having you raise your hand for each one, just for clarification. Instead of raising your hand for one or the other, you're just going to say you approve, you deny, or you abstain each vote. Yeah. All right. We will now move into executive reports, starting with President Lunaharo.
Good morning, everybody. The school is currently in a hiring process for a new dean of business. They're looking for students to interview and talk to these candidates. We have a few candidates that are new to SUNY Poly, and we have one that is currently the interim, which is Rafael Romero, Dr. Rafael Romero.
Thank you.
If you are interested in meeting these dean of business candidates, please let me know, and I will send you the scheduled dates of when they will have lunch, when you will have lunch with them. You can ask them any questions you like or anything at all. Next, SGU is currently working on an initiative called Swipe It Forward. Essentially, this initiative will allow students to donate their guest swipes so that other students may request it and then use that guest swipe as a meal for Campus Center. It is currently a work in progress. We're working with Food Committee. They've been, Food Committee. They've been sending out petitions around just to build general interest and kind of soft launch the initiative. On the side of Airmark, everything is looking good. We're figuring out the logistics and whatnot and building this within Grubhub. Next, student government, the SGU Exec Board is currently planning on launching a AI Walter. Pretty much this is kind of a chatbot that you can ask specific questions to. You can ask what event is happening today, where's my professor's classroom, what's my professor's contact information, and pretty much just built around SUNY Poly. We're planning on having the Student Success Committee have a discussion on it, and please look forward to that if you have any input on what you want this Walter, what you want this chatbot to have, or any concerns you may have about it. It will be discussed more in detail during Student Success Committee. Next, if you follow this SGU account, SUNY Poly SGU account, we're currently doing 100-day interviews for all seniors. Well, not all seniors, but as many seniors as we can. If you're a senior and you would like to be interviewed, please let me know. We have a few lined up already for the rest of this week, so yours will probably come out next week. And that's about all that I have. I yield.
All right, Vice President report. Hello, everyone. As was presented at today's CFB business meeting and has been sort of hinted at for the past couple meetings, I've been working with the CFB president to create some new changes to the CFB policies. This is more on the request of clubs that were made and submitted to CFB that we want to work in and feel is a positive change for the organization. Additionally, I've been working with some of the senators on expectations of the committees, and hopefully going forward, we'll have a common understanding. Thank you. That is all I yield. Moving on to Treasurer Report.
Things have been going well from a financial perspective. Purchase requests are being reviewed. For those who are submitting purchase requests, or if your group is submitting purchase requests, the person who submitted the purchase request may be getting emails. If I have questions regarding the purchase request, please be prompt in responding to those. It really just helps make the process go a lot faster. To update everybody on the reserves poll, it has been signed by all of our organizational representatives, signed by our president, myself, the advisor, and Dr. Montgomery. The president of SUNY Poly should hopefully have a chance to review it tomorrow. With any luck, those funds will be processed early next week. Thank you. I yield.
All right, Secretary Report. All right, that concludes the executive reports. Moving on to Direct Reports, starting with Chief of Staff. All right, moving on to Chief Justice. Moving on, Director of PR.
On our SGU page on Instagram called a little recap of our 2-hour-long meetings. I know attention spans are short nowadays, so hopefully this will be able to inform the student body without having to bore them to death. As well as our Textedly subscription, it will be getting canceled, not only because I don't think anyone wants cold calling text messages in their inbox. Charges would be included, I believe, for those text messages. So we're just going to be canceling that. And as well as a look-ahead segment, it will be a short-form video that will be showing events that will be going on in the up-and-coming weeks, highlighting those events. And yeah, so stay tuned for that.
Thank you. I'd like to remind the Horseshoe to, if you have any questions, save them for the end, but otherwise keep chatter down to a minimum. Moving on to Director of Community Outreach. There's no one. Director of Wellness and Inclusion. All right, moving on to the advisors.
Hi, everybody. There you go. I'll just clarify, it was brought up to potentially end the subscription to Textedly. It was not officially approved. So we're in discussion on that. A couple of events, just to let you know, this Saturday at 4 o'clock is the men's first playoff game for basketball. So come on out and show your spirit. We'll have giveaways, raffles during halftime, and a bunch of spirit stuff to hand out. So that's 4 o'clock in the campus center. And then to keep in mind, in collaboration with CSI and Webb, we will be doing Are You Smarter Than a Dean on March 23rd. So it is a trivia bowl. All 4 deans will be participating. It'll be teams of 4. So if you want to put your own team together, feel free. If you just want to come, we'll put teams together for you. 4 to 6 right here in the MPR on March 23rd. Should be a fun time. We will be mixing it up with pop culture and education and all that. So hopefully we can catch some of the deans not knowing what they're talking about. So yeah, hopefully that'll be up on Engage in a couple of days here. You can RSVP and sign up your team. Everyone will be given a team captain through Webb. You'll get a colored bandana and prizes and all that fun stuff. So looking forward to it. I yield.
All right, Advisor Wadsworth.
Sabrina Carpenter knowledge. It'll be great. All right. The other thing I will mention too, I'm sure that Webb will bring it up, but Wednesday they are hosting, February 25th, they are hosting a magician on campus. It is a student magician, so I really hope that you all will come out and support a student. This potential student was also a former senator, so to the Senate, I really encourage you all to show up, support a fellow student as they, grow their magic career. That will be 8 to 10 p.m. in this room. Okay? Thank you all.
All right, that concludes Director Reports. Moving on to Committee Reports, starting with Policy Committee. Hello, everyone. This last policy committee, we worked on finishing up the touch-ups for the election policy and the CFP. We had a review of the first draft for CFP's policies and procedures that were presented in today's business meeting with the additions included that were mentioned during the policy committee meeting. We have a lot of bills on the way and hope to see you all there. It is again on Mondays, 6 to 7 p.m. in Kinsella 219. Thank you. Moving on to Budget Committee.
As I'm guessing everyone's aware, the financial policy 12th edition is finally on the table. Don't know that we're necessarily going to get to it today. A lot of work was put into this document, and while it might not cover everything, we hope it covers a lot of the things that have sort of slipped through the cracks over the years. To our senators, I do ask, and really our horseshoe, anyone who's curious, if you have questions about it, please feel free to both voice them on the floor or reach out to me personally after the meeting. I'd be more than happy to explain the reasoning behind any of what's in here if people would like. We're meeting Tuesdays at 8 a.m. This upcoming Tuesday, the 24th, we're going to begin discussing next year's budget. This is the best time to give your input on where the student activity fee money goes. The budget is ultimately discussed on the Senate floor, but realistically speaking, the vast majority of the budget is formed in committee. So please come, wake up early, get yourself some coffee. It'll be a great time. I yield.
All right. Student Success Committee.
Hello, everyone. Just notifying that I will be chairing this committee from now on for the remaining of this semester. We have some exciting ideas that we'll bring to the next meeting, so please be on the lookout. Also, we'll change the time of the meeting, so keep track of that too.
All right. Student Center.
Hey y'all, sorry for not having last week's meeting. I was at a doctor's appointment. We will be meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the SC Theater. I will have the agenda out by tonight. I yield.
All right. Wellness and Inclusion. All right. Food Committee.
As mentioned by President Lenore Haro. If you'd like to sign the petition for it, please come to me after the Senate meeting. The initiative will be discussed today in Food Committee, 4 p.m. in the Student Center Theater. I yield.
All right. Safety and Facilities.
Everyone, Safety and Facilities Committee has now moved to weekly at the request of our Vice President. Along with this request of our Vice President, we will now be trying to include the people behind the construction projects in our weekly meetings.
All right. Class Gift.
And finalize an idea for class gift, and we are also now finalizing items to send to Sean Ireland for a final price quote. We are meeting on Mondays from 12 to 1 p.m. in the Student Center Theater.
All righty. That concludes committee reports. Moving on to organizational reports, starting with Webb.
Hi, everybody. Bailey kind of beat me to it, but that's okay. I'll talk about it some more. Pottery night went so well. Thank you to everybody that came. All your creations should be available Monday. You will get an email when they're ready and where they will be picked up. We haven't discussed the pickup location just yet. Monday the 23rd, we have our Disney karaoke, and then the 25th from starting at 8. Preston Gillis will be in here. He's a great magician. He tried to explain something to me, and I still don't know how it works because it's just madness, but it's amazing. I really think you guys aren't going to want to miss this. Highly suggest you come. Also, our first free bowling is back on the 26th, and here is your reminder, please do not show up until 10:30 and bring your student IDs. Thank you, I yield.
All right, CFB.
We're currently discontinuing normal operation with our clubs, and then as Vice President Chaput already touched on, we're working on some policies that should hopefully be on the table within the next couple weeks after we get feedback from the clubs. I yield.
Wildcat Media.
Please excuse the mics this meeting. We're currently running into some battery technical difficulties. We ordered a battery tester, so that will come in soon to see if we need to throw out these batteries or not, because they keep dying after we charge them, which is not that best. But please join us March 6th in this room at 7 p.m. for our event. It's going to be fun. See you all then.
Wildcat Esports.
Hello everyone, Wildcat Esports is going well. Teams are still competing and trying their best. Pride Fest is going smooth. Planning is going smoothly with prizes finalized.
All right, that concludes organizational reports and reports as a whole. Moving on to approval of the change log. There is no approvals to be made. Moving on to old business, starting with Resolution 2526-18, Senator Beckman.
26-18.
Do we have a second? Second by Senator Fisher. You can continue.
Reallocation of school outing funds to casino night. The purpose of this resolution is to reallocate excess funds from school outing to enhance the casino night event by covering dealer costs and increasing prize money. We, the Senate of SUNY Poly Government at Utica, do hereby resolve, whereas based on a reassessment of remaining funds, Webb has identified an opportunity to enhance the upcoming casino night event, largely due to a surplus of funds from school outing, and the Webb team aims to allocate additional resources from unexpectedly high balance in the school outing budget to casino night, enriching the student experience through improved dealer services and a wider array of prizes. And the decision to reallocate funds from school outing night to casino night was based on the opportunity to maximize on-campus events for students, ensuring excess funds directly boost student engagement and satisfaction. Therefore, it be enacted a line transfer of $1,325 from Webb school outing line to the Webb casino night line for dealers, and a line transfer of $2,625 from the Webb school outing line to Webb casino night line for prizes. Therefore, be it resolved that if the line transfers are successful, $1,325 will be allocated from school outings to cover dealer costs from casino night, and be it further resolved that the line transfers are successful, an additional $2,625 will be allocated to enhance the casino night prize pool, bringing the total prize budget to $4,945.59. And be it finally resolved, if these transfers are successful, casino night will have sufficient funds for dealers and prizes, enhancing the event quality and appeal, which will not occur without these line transfers. Therefore, be it.
All right, moving into discussion on the resolution, starting with Webb.
I have two motions to make, but my first one, can I make a motion to limit discussion of Resolution 2526-18 to allocate only 5 minutes for the entire discussion of this resolution, and we have other things on the table?
We have a motion to limit discussion to 5 minutes. Is there a second? Second by Senator Beckman. Yeah.
Everybody, like as a whole, like this should only take 5 minutes.
All right, it has been seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion made? Senator Novak?
I feel like this motion is just going to be it's just going to shut down discussion, and it's not going to let a proper discussion form or be fully carried out. Therefore, doubts that might be brought by senators or anything else is just going to be shut down. So this is just going to shut down discussion instead of proliferate it or trying to make it more concise. So I don't see how this could lead to anything other good, other than just trying to force this bill to get through by limiting discussion. I yield.
Webb?
Can I motion to call to question?
We have a motion to call to question. Is there a second? Second by Pro Temp Ludewan. Yeah, she motioned to call to question on the amendment. As it was seconded and there's no debate for a call to question, we'll now go into the roll call ballot form of voting. Starting with Adam, do you approve, deny, or abstain? I approve. All right, going on to Aiden, do you approve, deny, or abstain? All right, going to Richie, do you approve, deny, or abstain? Going to Rose, do you approve, deny, or abstain? All right, going to Khan, do you approve, deny, or abstain? Going to Beckman, do you approve, deny, or abstain? All right, going to Novak, do you approve, deny, or abstain?
Deny.
Going to Fisher, that's an abstention. Going to Pro Temp Ludewan, do you approve, deny, or abstain? All right, and then I'll ask the secretary on the call to question. All right, that passes. Call to question has been passed, so we'll now be going on to voting on the amendment on the amendment made for 5 minutes of discussion, which would begin at the conclusion of this voting period. So, again with the roll call ballot, starting with Adam, do you approve the 5-minute limitation? I approve. All right, going on to Aiden. Going on to Senator Ritchie. Going on to Senator Rose. Going on to Senator Khan. Going on to Senator Beckman. Going on to Senator Novak.
Deny.
Going on to Senator Fisher. It is an abstention. And going on to Senator Pro Temp Ludewan. All right, and I'll refer to the secretary.
6-1.
All right, that passes. The clock will now start at 1:08. Starting with Webb.
Can I make a motion to amend Resolution 2526-18, bullet point 2 under resolve to strike $4,945.59 from there?
We have a motion to strike the total prize number $4,945.59 from the resolve section. Is there a second? Second by Senator Pena. Moving into discussion on the amendment. Pro Temp Ludewan. And Webb.
So this number is, I gave it to my treasurer when we were first drafting this. It was a number on our spreadsheet end. It's not really, it like goes into all the money that we've allocated for all of this. It doesn't reflect this line transfer. It was just adding in our totals on our spreadsheet, so I made sure we had the right numbers. So it was not supposed to be put in this resolution.
All right. Is there any further discussion for the amendment? Pro Temp Ludewan.
And everything, it's 6,000. 2 seconds. Where are we? 6,400.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Treasurer Weddle.
Just a point of clarification for Webb. Are you just striking the number, or are you striking that whole sort of phrase? Because if you just strike the number, it's just going to say bringing the total prize budget to, and it's just going to look a little. I'm just going to yield back to Webb to clarify that.
Yeah. It's supposed. I'm so sorry. It's supposed to be striking that sentence after prize pool. I worded that wrong. I'm sorry.
All right.
Do I have to amend my motion?
No,
Okay.
I'll hear that fine.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any further discussion for the motion? Seeing no further discussion, we'll go into voting on striking, bringing the total prize budget to $4,945.59. Starting with Senator Capo. Senator Pena. Senator Ritchie. Senator Rose. Senator Khan. Senator Beckman. Senator Novak. Senator Fisher is still abstained. And Pro Temp Ludewan. All right, and I'll refer to the secretary.
8-0-1.
All right, back in discussion of the resolution as a whole. Senator Novak.
So, I brought this up last time, but I talked to my constituents after the meeting last time, and when I talked to my multiple constituents, I got a general consensus that while they would like our consumer line to be bigger, there's also a lot of people who would also kind of wish that this money would instead go to increasing the total amount of students who can go on the Boston trip. I understand we can't have a second trip due to the fact that it's too late to allocate these funds, but if we allocate these funds to the Boston trip, I mean, some students would like to see if we could try increasing the total amount of students to do it, especially since how the reserve system currently works. Nobody wants to get up at 5:30 in the morning, go to the buses, pack everything the night beforehand, and then get there for a 1% chance that there is an empty seat. So unless the reserve system is kind of, I guess, changed, that the reserves are given out the night before, students do want to see there being more room on these trips so more people can go if possible. And I guess since this is taking money from that, that's the one concern my constituents had about this change. I yield.
Webb.
I would like to answer that in the sense that there's there's not enough money in the line that this line transfer even would cover for a second bus. Another second bus is $4,500, which is not what we have in the line, and there's not an opportunity to do that unless we do school buses, and that's not going to happen because you're not going to take a school bus 5 hours. It has to be under 6 hours, so it's 5 hours away. I don't think anybody wants that. So there's not enough money. So why not put it towards something that we know will be big and have money? I yield.
All right. Is there any further discussion for the resolution? Seeing no further discussion, and now that we've reached the 5-minute mark anyways, we'll go into voting on Resolution 2526-18 as a whole, starting with Senator Capo, Senator Pena, Senator Ritchie, Senator Rose, Senator Khan, Senator Beckman, Senator Novak, Senator Fisher, Senator Lujan, Pro Temp Lujan, and I'll refer to our secretary.
Uh, 6-3-0.
All right, the resolution passes. That concludes old business. Moving on to resolution number 2526-19, Senator Pena. Give me a quick second. Does that require? Yes. Seconded by Pro Temp Ludowan. You can continue.
We, the Senate of SUNY Poly Student Government at Utica, do hereby resolve, whereas on September 30th, 2025, we were notified that Engage has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and its future remains unknown. And whereas we have spent several months researching and demoing new companies alongside campus partners and the Student Associate Board of Directors, and whereas once a front-runner platform was founded, the Student Association Board of Directors voted in favor of the new platform. As this is a multi-year contract, 3 years, it must go for a vote through the Senate as well. Therefore, be it enacted, the student government at Utica will continue to put forth funding towards the new digital engagement software, campus groups, including a bridge contract and implementation fee for the next 3 years as described in the attachments. Therefore, be it finally resolved, the Senate agrees to allow SGU and the Student Association Board of Directors to move forward with this new contract and platform to better serve the student body.
All right. I would just like to ask a point of clarity if there is meant to be an attachment within this resolution, and if it was potentially cut off when submitted in. I'd ask that to any of the fellow executive board members. Is there supposed to be an attachment as described in the enacted section attached to this resolution? Yeah. Gotcha. Understood. All right. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Start.
Just sort of a question of clarification. The contract that I'm looking at for the pricing breakdown is a 5-year contract. The resolution lists 3 years. I would just like to, first, advisors, please cut me off if I'm mistaken, but if this is a 5-year contract, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the resolution to reflect that. I'm going to yield to Kathy to clarify.
All right. Webb?
What's the number for the fee? Because I don't really remember seeing that either. I yield to President.
Yeah, I'll send it out to everybody.
Thank you.
Senator Novak?
So this is a question for our advisors. It's a question that popped up during our pro temp meeting was, does, I guess, our vote really matter, or is this a decision that CSI has already come to and, like, we're just awaiting? Like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, theoretically, if you voted no, would this even affect anything, or is this something that's already gone through with, like, some other bills that have happened this semester? If that's appropriate, I guess, to ask and make sense. I yield to our advisors.
Yes, so with Engage contract ending, we would not have a platform to do all of your financials. There wouldn't be a platform for announcements or events or anything like that. It's not a CSI decision. CSI has absolutely nothing to do with this. It's a decision made by your board of directors for student assembly. They're the ones that voted on that, so you really wouldn't have the things you need to do the financials behind that. So we need to do that sooner than later, or you won't have a platform going into next year.
All right. Advisor Wadsworth?
Just to add on, the board unanimously voted in favor of this contract compared to the other ones that we did demo. So, and like, you wouldn't have anything. Now, I do have the 3-year pricing. I'm just gonna reply to the agenda minutes.
I'm sending
Oh,
it right now.
okay. Webb?
Advisors, then, would we be able to trial run it before, like, if anything happens, so we could at least get a feel for it? Like, specifically the orgs, like Web. Would we be able to trial run it? I yield.
We don't have the ability to trial run it because that's what the implementation fee is for. So they would need to build it out first. We do have a demo. It is recorded. There was a large number of campus partners on it, from Accessibility Services, the care team was there. There was a lot of different campus partners there, but I do have it recorded. We did have, why didn't I know about it? I believe CFB was there for the club portion. I believe Noah was there for the SGU portion. So we did have some other student leaders in the room, but yes, we do have the ability to send the demo out. I'm going to yield to the audience member.
Yeah.
So just to explain a little bit more, and I'm sure Bailey covered it too, you guys will get to engage and everything's there, and then there's still some like tinkering, trying things out, getting it right, so it's not like all of a sudden it turns off and we got to go with what we got. So you guys will be able to test it out.
Or Novak, because I'm not sure if your question was fully answered. This vote that the Senate does matter. Per SUNY policy, we have to follow our policies regarding expenses, and our current financial policy states that any contract for multiple years of service requires Senate approval. If the Senate voted this down, don't really know what would happen, but we wouldn't have an engagement platform for the next year, which would be extremely problematic, right? The way people know what's happening on campus is they go on Engage, they look at the events that are happening. If they want to join a club, that's where they find clubs, that's where they find organizations. This is the option that the Student Association's Board of Directors has settled on with, in conjunction with other stakeholders. I haven't personally used it. Looking at the pricing and the offerings, it's very comparable to Engage. It's actually a better price than what we paid for Engage this year. So from a personal standpoint, I see no reason why this shouldn't go forward. I yield.
I think I didn't properly word myself, and I have two things to say. I'm just going to quickly respond to Weddle first, because it wasn't, but I guess what I was just trying to ask was, I was even like just wondering if there was any point to even vote this down, because I just wanted to make sure, like, you know, I guess just clarifying about that, like, because, you know, and I also wasn't sure if this was like a decision that was already made, just because I know there's been some other this things sometimes that when it's come up to the Senate, even though the Senate still got the vote on it, there were some decisions that kind of went above the Senate, I guess, of like some of the, like, especially like some of the requirement changes that changed for clubs is all. But the main thing I want to also ask for audience member is, so I know this is too much first, but are we switching mid-semester, or are we, like, you know, having Engage to the end? My other thing too is, for this trial period, will clubs be access, and the club, specifically just club exec boards, have access to this, because if club exec boards don't have access to this, I can at least, I don't know if that would be a good idea, because I think club exec boards should have a time to mess around, especially since already clubs struggle with Engage, so I think we should at least have the ability to mess around a bit too, I guess.
Yeah. So to answer, it's on. To answer your first question, it won't switch off like halfway through the semester. The bridge program is literally to get us through to the end of the fiscal year. So when Engage is done, we're set. But Engage, you guys will have Engage, and you'll do everything in Engage all the way through the semester. The implementation, we haven't really sat down to do like the nitty gritty, but it's probably going to start with a lot of IT work and then probably some admin stuff, getting the finance stuff. But I can see once we start getting things in there, sending it out for people to test. It'll probably happen over the summer at that point when we're ready for that. But if people are willing, we would love the feedback because you guys are going to be working in there, speaking on behalf of everyone. So the intent is that, and like Grayson said, it is a better product for a better price. It's a lot more customizable. It'll allow us to do a lot more. So with that, we'll be able to tinker it to what we need it to do, more so than Engage does. I yield.
To also add on, there might be some time periods because this is also a new product for us, so we have to be able to be trained so that we can then train everybody else. So once we learn, we're happy to share that information out. I do think it'll probably be fairly limited during the first few little implementation periods, because we don't want to confuse people either. If there's things that are changing as we're designing, or if we get feedback from some of the org heads that, this event submission process, maybe we could just change this. We just don't want to confuse people, so once we have a solidified process that we're all comfortable with is probably when we'll start looking at sharing some more information with clubs. Not to be secretive, but just to be concise with how we're presenting it and make sure that everybody's getting accurate information that isn't going to change 100 times. So I hope that answers your question. I yield.
Do you still have the copy of that demo? And if so, could we get our hands on it possibly so we can at least see what you're talking about? Like, I believe you guys that it's like a great feature because you obviously, I wouldn't, but if we could just get that, I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Is there any further discussion? I'm going to hold off because I believe the request made was so that she had it before a vote would happen. Whenever? Okay. Okay. All right. Then I'll ask the Senate, would you prefer to wait on the vote until seeing the demo, or are you good to vote on this now? Or just, this one I'll actually just take with like a general thumbs up. This is not a formal vote. If you want to vote on this now or wait until a demo is shown. Okay. All right, that's enough thumbs up. So, is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, we'll go into voting on Resolution 2526 Is your hand up? I can't see it. I'm sorry.
Apologize.
Treasurer Webb.
I should have brought this up earlier. I just had a question with regards to the resolution text. I see that it's dated January 5th, 2026. I'm just a little curious how that occurred, considering resolution number 2526-18, which is numbered earlier than that, has a later date. I just was wondering if we could amend that to, I can't recall if this was added to the table last week or this week, so I'll yield to the chair to.
Are you asking for a motion to be made for the date of last week?
Yes, I'd like to entertain a motion to
Okay.
amend the resolution to state February 12th, 2026 instead of January 5th, 2026.
Yes.
Clarity, wouldn't that just be House rules because it does not change the scope of the bill?
Considering how much the date is being affected and that it was scheduled before the 18th bill, I do want this in a motion.
Okay.
So heard by Pro Temp Ludewan. Is there a second? Second by Senator Khan. All right, going into discussion of the amendment. Is there any discussion for this amendment? Seeing no discussion, does anyone not approve of unanimous approval for this? Seeing no disapproval, that passes unanimously. Going back into discussion of the resolution as a whole, is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion. With the roll call ballot. With Senator Capo, Senator Pena, Senator Ritchie, Senator Rose, Senator Khan, Senator Beckman, Senator Novak, Senator Fisher, and Secretary. All right, that passes unanimously. That concludes discussion of Resolution 2526-19. Moving on to excuse me for a second. 2526-20, Senator Rose. A motion to accept 2526-20, second by Senator Fisher.
Of said process for this protocol shall consist of Microsoft Forms application, which shall serve as the primary intake for all students' requests, and that the distribution of said passes will operate strictly on a first-come, first-served basis dictated by the submission date of the student's application, and that a strict 7-day eligibility rule shall be enforced, whereby no student may receive a subsequent Centro Bus weekly pass until 7 calendar days have elapsed from their most recent recorded pickup, and each 50-week passes will be available for pickup, and all unspent passes will carry over the following weeks, and that every applicant must present their student ID to the office manager during pickup of the Centro Weekly Pass, and that approved applicants must collect their Centro Weekly Pass within 72 hours of approval notification. Failure to do so shall result in forfeiture of the pass. Therefore, be it resolved that the office manager will manage all requests once the Centro Weekly Passes are received, and be it further resolved, the form listed in the references will become an officially active form once the Centro Weekly Passes are received, and be it finally resolved that the approval of this resolution by the Senate officially satisfies the mandate for a detailed distribution plan, thereby authorizing the expenditure of the allocated $6,000 for the purchase of Centro Bus Weekly Passes.
Point of, you still need to, my bad. Oh, I guess it, oh, Jesus. Point of information, I guess. The form is not possible to use due to it being a PDF. You can't click on the link to get to the form, so could the president email out the form? Otherwise, we physically can't access the reference.
Sure.
Stating.
I'm on a phone.
I'd just like to get into that, starting with President Lunaharo.
So, the executive board and I met regarding this Centro Bus initiative this past Tuesday, and we've noticed that there's a better opportunity to make sure that all students get access to this. So we're gonna, instead of getting the weekly passes, we're gonna get a 10 ride pass. The difference between the weekly pass is the weekly pass will allow you to ride Central Bus as many times as you want for 7 days, while the 10 ride pass will allow you for 10 rides for a whole year, pretty much. So the main rationale behind that was because if someone were to get a pass today and they only need it every Sunday, they'll be able to use that pass every Sunday for a while, rather than they get the weekly pass and then they waste the whole weekly pass for just one use. And with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion to strike all the text that mentions weekly and replace with 10 ride, strike the 7 day and replace with 5 day, and strike 7 and replace with 5. I could send out that motion. Well, I'll entertain that motion.
So moved by the Pro Tem. Is there a second? Second by Senator Rose. And yes, I would like that sent out to the horseshoe. All right. Going to discussion on the amendment to the resolution, starting with Senator Novak.
I think this is the proper time to discuss it. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like 5 days might be a tiny bit too little of an in-between period for getting the stuff. Because let's say theoretically you're taking the bus twice a day, once going someplace, once coming back. That would be within 5 days, 10 rides. You could then, as soon as you have rides, pick up a new form for 5 more rides, theoretically allowing you to monopolize the entire system for the entire academic year, because every 5 days you then apply and get a new pass. I mean, I guess we don't know how this form, like, I guess how the process would work on, like, I guess to be a question for Lauren, or maybe, I don't know if it is a process yet for, like, how the office manager is going to look at, and, like, what information is going to make the office manager decide who's in the priority. But at least for me, this 5-day program, at least to me, I'm just a bit scared it's going to lead to somebody getting a pass, using it in all 5 days, and getting a pass and using it, using it, and then it's just going to lead with, like, 10 students or something getting free bus rides for the entire semester, and then no one else getting it, I guess. I just think this is not enough information to approve that part, at least. I yield.
Wildcat Media.
Yeah, of course. We're going to heavily promote this, make sure it's, yeah, we're going to promote this as hard as properly as we can, so that as many students as possible know about it.
Director of PR.
To kind of echo that concern, there will be heavy PR in that. Posters, social media, it will be known, and we do implore people to share with your friends. And word of mouth is the most popular way of sharing it.
Senator's concern, since it's a 5-day period, realistically, since the SGU office is only open during the week, right, Monday through Friday, that still essentially means you get 1 pass per week. It's just that our office isn't always open. It allows for a little more flexibility in that regard. If you pick up a pass on Friday, you could, in theory, pick another one up for next week, but it doesn't have to be the following Friday. It just gives a little more flexibility in that regard. Even if you have a student coming in, picking up a pass every week, there's not that many weeks left in the semester. The most they could realistically get is 10 passes, I think, if I have my count correct. I yield.
So yeah, this is a pilot program to see as well what kind of problems may come up with the way we're doing it right now. If we see that there's a problem with the 5-day or there's a problem with specifically the 10 ride passes, we'll work on it and fix it so that we have an pretty much just solve any problems that comes up with this pilot program.
Senator Novak?
I feel like, I guess, once again, my point is not, I guess, being listened to, or whatever. I don't know how to word it, sorry. But my concern wasn't, I guess, with, like, people, like, you know, who need to use it, using it, or people using it like an amusement park ride. My concern is just that since it's so limited to how many are given out a week, that it's going to be, I guess, only being used, like, there's going to be, like, say, we were giving out, I don't know what it meant, if it, in the change, it mentions how many are being given out a week, but say those 50 being given out a week and those 100 students who want it, my feel is it's just going to be the same 50 students getting it every week due to the period, while the other 7-day one is more obvious in saying you get it every other week. So then all 100 students would still get it, but here I'm just worried that it's, with the current limit, it's just going to be the same 50. And I understand if you're going to be using the bus a lot, you might be, like, you know, more likely to use it, but I just feel like also the fact that the forum doesn't have any way to state purpose, like how it's going to be, because somebody might, I don't know, I just don't know if first come, first serve is, especially if this current time limit, is the best way of doing it. Especially because, oh, I might need groceries, but then someone might need to go to, like, a hospital. So I don't mean not go to a hospital, but need to go someplace important with the bus. There's no way of, I guess, stating, I guess. Again, I'm not sure if my point's getting across because it didn't get across last time. But I guess, yeah, I yield.
Clarity. You're stating that you're worried that people are going to use the pass every week and just those same 50 people are going to be using it?
Yes, I'm scared that's going to be monopolized. It's going to be monopolized by the same students and not let other students who need or want it have a chance to use it.
So, just at least from my understanding from the conversations within the executive board, this is the pilot program to see how much interest we have. If we are having 100 students, you know, requesting the pass every week, and we can only give it to 50 people, that's a good thing in this sense because we're making a pilot program for people to use, and if we need to expand it in the next year, then we know how to adequately budget for it. The point is to actually want to have all 50 passes used up and potentially have more on top of that. I'm going to go to Senator Ritchie. President Lenoir.
So as of right now, it's just, most of these are just, it won't affect whether or not you will get it. It's purely first come, first serve. So these questions are just for us to build data and a little bit of information of what type of people mainly would request this. I yield.
Treasurer Weddle.
Just to speak to Senator Novak's concern with regards to the same 50 people using it, it's a first come, first serve basis, and 50 passes are given out every week. But if you've received a pass in the past 5 days, you can't submit again for another pass. So if 51 people submit for a pass and you're the 51st person, start of next week, you're the first person in queue, as it were, to receive a pass. So the 50 people in front of you couldn't submit for another 10 ride pass in until it's been 5 days since they last picked up a pass, and they're going to be shunted sort of to the end of the queue. I'm going to yield to Senator Novak to ask if that answers your question.
That wasn't obvious on anywhere in the bill or on the form, so I didn't know that's how it worked. Because to my knowledge, how it seemed, it would be first come, first serve, like starting the next Sunday of each week. And that's why I was concerned about it not being a full week requirement or like a waiting or something like that, because I guess with this new system it doesn't matter, but if it was resetting the queue every week, that would then allow it to be that, but I guess it does sound the thing. I don't know if we could put someplace on the form or the bill saying that it's going to be a queue system, but I think...
Push open forum back to 150.
Well, I still technically had the floor because I never yielded, and I got point of information by Senator Rose, so I never lost the floor, and I never lost the floor even when that motion was made. So yeah, I guess point is, I guess I still technically have the floor, but I guess what I'm just trying to say is I just would like if we can maybe make it a bit explicit how that system works, if possible. Is this my one request to yield?
To state specifically what you mentioned, feel free to make a motion on that. I yield.
Approved.
referring to the limit of 50 passes? I'm not understand the question.
Was had was we want to see how successful the pilot program is over the remainder of the semester. The 50 passes will stack. So if our first week only 40 passes are claimed, the following week there will be 60 passes available. So they're still available going forwards. It's really just to kind of gauge interest, and if it ends up being, we really just don't know how popular this program is going to be. If it ends up being wildly popular, we don't want it to sell out in the next 3 weeks. We want it to spread over the remainder of the semester, so it's a little more, it's just a little more spread out. We get a better gauge of how students are using it. Does that answer our advisor? I yield.
Then, since, I guess to our advisors, since the advisors were not aware of this. Trying to ask before we got into open forum. I guess our advisor slash, I guess, the CSI office manager, since, at least from what I can tell, you guys weren't aware that was going to be 50 passes per week. Does that mean you have, I guess, currently, as of like right now, I guess, no plans on who will get prioritized for the 50 passes, or will it just be like, I guess I just wanted to make sure CSI is, I guess, since they're part of it, they'll fully, I guess,